inspecting your colony to find out how they're doing, you don't have to start with a frame by frame. What you can do is just lift the hive body, because a lot of the evidence that you need to see is underneath. So I'm just going to step that forward a little bit so I can tip it. And see, we got 2 nice new queen cups there, 2 here. If you blow on these a little bit, sometimes there's more queen cups up inside there. So we got 1 there. They're just cups, there's nothing in them. 5 queen cups isn't any big deal at all. So, sorry girls. Look at how tall this colony is. It's 4 mediums and they're packed top to bottom. So that's my cue right there that they're ready to split. We don't need to wait for them to be ready to swarm to split. We'd actually really like to split way before they're ready to swarm. So whether or not they have 1,000,000 queen cups or 1,000,000 drones or any of the other things, these guys are ready to split because they're really full. And because of the time of year it is, if I keep waiting and waiting and waiting for them to be ready to swarm, what are the chances I'm going to miss the swarm? You know, way better. So now we have more here, which is perfectly expected. That one's in there polishing that one. There may actually be some babies. We also have some drone larvae in the ladders. We got a lot more cups here. And what I'm really looking for here is queen cells, because I want to know if they've already gotten started with this process. I'm going to stack these in reverse order so I can remember what order they go back in. Now, in this method of splitting, you don't actually have to find the queen, but what you do have to do is move every single frame, which is another reason that all mediums beekeeping is kind of a pain in the ass. Sorry. Because you got 30% more frames to deal with. If we were looking for the queen, we could just find the queen. So we only have 2 queen cups down here. So we're going to start at the very bottom of the box. And this is actually a really kind of relaxing way to do a split, because there's no pressure to find the queen or anything else. All you have to do is shake all of the frames into your receiving hive, which will be the child hive. Oh, isn't that lovely?
Ooh. Oh. A little resident.
A little propolised mouse.
Oh, wow.
Don't tell Bill.
2 of them.
Oh, there's two of them. Oh my gosh. They're a little excited right now.
They are. You've got a lively bunch. They're great. Like, nice and healthy.
Yeah, there you go. And I've actually already been down here and cleaned off the bottom board, so I'm a little surprised to see those mice. Sometimes if you let it get way too close to swarming, they'll be a lot meaner too, because they know what they're doing.
Okay.
They don't want disturbing them. Right.
Like, this is an important time right now.
So I know it's hard to remember exactly what it is we want to land where. So I made notes. This colony is going to have the foragers and the capped brood and a few eggs so that they can make a new queen. When we shake all of the frames into the receiving colony over there, the open brood will go over there, and because we're shaking, all of the nurse bees and the queen will stay there because they don't like to fly, and all the foragers will return to here where we're going to leave the capped brood. So it really is just a super slick way to do this when you can't find the queen. And in a colony this big, no matter how good you are at finding the queen, it's hard. So I did some splits in my other apiary where I wanted to find the queen, and it took me about 2 hours per colony to do it. I'm going to go ahead and shake this just because, but the queen should really never be on the one that has, the outside one that has the honey.
Is that all new honey, or is that overwintered honey?
It looks new.
Okay.
But we did Bill and I put a bunch of honey in here.
Okay.
So, no telling. So Nancy, if you want to help me, you're sure welcome.
If you
Sure.
get uncomfortable, you can go further
frame,
away.
or how can I help?
Yeah, I'll hand you the frames and you go just shake them just like I did.
Okay.
I'm giving them a good once over for the queen. Oh, the lid's upside down, so I can't tell. I try to mark my queens.
Do you want any more smoke or anything too, Tina?
Doesn't seem like we need it. Oh, so this is a beautiful frame of bee bread. And we're gonna leave this in the other colony because remember the foragers aren't there. So that means that no one will be bringing in fresh bee bread.
Alaska, we're going to see
Filled
this
with
bee
pollen.
bread. Look at that bee bread.
Yeah. That'll be great for them. So one thing that's really concerning to people when they do this type of split is how little traffic there is in the child colony. And that's because we removed all the foragers and the nurses don't fly, which is exactly why this works. So this one is basically, it's got some really young open brood. So we don't need to shake this one either, Rusty.
I'm just going to
put it in there.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Do you want to see open?
There is some backfilling in the middle of this too, which is great. Thanks. Okay. I'm going to shake this one because I want you to see this really well. See these really dark comb and the perforations here? And look at that. It's got a little nectar. There's another one. So I kind of had to shake the bees off to be able to see that.
But
But
there's nectar?
there's perforated cappings.
So hygienic.
So, I'm thinking that this is a little bit of a European foul brood going on. If you have any question, take the top off and see what's in there. And there is a little dead larva in there. So there's also nothing else on here except for a bit of nectar and a little bit of capped brood. Now this, like 2 perforated cells, 3 perforated cells, it really isn't much of a big deal. However, since there's nothing else on here, it's kind of dark, we're gonna get rid of this. Because it's got pathogens and stuff. It seems to kind of show up, it shows up. Especially this time of year, you start seeing it, and it's not the end of the world. It's really not worth giving your bees antibiotics and wipe out the biome in there. I've had really good luck with just taking out the 3 worst combs, which who knows if that will be one of the worst, since there's nothing on it, really. We're losing maybe 100 little babies. That's about it, and a little bit of nectar. It's not much of a sacrifice. It's harder when there's a bunch of good babies too. See, this bottom box isn't being used very much at all. There's not much in here. Got some drone, so Rusty's gonna go shake that
And bring it back?
because it's kind of empty. There's not much
Right.
going on there.
Yeah, there's
And
a little nectar.
We
and
want
some- Oh, there's bee bread.
this colony with all the foragers to have room to put their stuff. Actually, just leave it there, Rusty. Since it has room, we'll let the queen lay in it.
Okay.
Maybe.
There's bee bread on it too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And look how beautiful this one is. You know, it's room to lay too. I don't see the queen. We're just gonna put this one in there. It's got lots of bee
Okay,
bread.
I'm going to
so-
put that one in there and give this back to you.
but it has to be shaken first.
Oh, oops.
Do you want to hold
you
on
wanna
it
hold
on
for
the
me?
tabs? You're going to be just fine. Follow Nancy over here.
Okay, got some nice honey. Same thing. We don't really have to shake these. This is so nice to have an assistant.
Does this shake? I
Just shake it
this
and bring it back. So we've got some little bit of brood that has no perforations. Beautiful and lovely. So we're gonna put this back.
Here you go.
Thank you, ma'am. You beat me. Oh, see, I forgot I wasn't supposed to put it back yet because we need to shake off the inside of the box too, because sometimes the queen is on the inside of the box. Oh, sorry, girls. Chelsea, you want to come over this way?
No sign of the queen yet.
Nope. There were eggs on that first one that we left
Okay.
over there,
But
so
they're
there's a
probably Mayan.
possibility. But I would doubt that we'd find her in this box. But that's the thing, is you don't have to figure it out. All you have to do, you want to shake that one
Sure. And bring it back?
and bring it back.
You're going to go through every single box, every single frame.
Yep.
Shake.
Until I find the queen.
Okay.
See, now I'm
Oh,
shaking
okay.
the whole box. There's a lot of bees in here.
Well,
One thing about this is you get a lot of bees in the air. So we're not going to be panicky just because there's a lot of bees in here. This is our lovely opportunity to clean the inside of a box. All that stuff that tears up your comb, all that stuff, but it's only good for a year. And then it loses its antibacterial and antifungal and everything properties. So you might as well get rid of it and let them start over. And I'm putting this right where I'm going to step,
is it purpleized?
which is how the mice could chew their way in.
It's amazing that they can make it through the small entrance like that.
Well, they had to open it for themselves a little bit. And they did that since I cleaned the bottom boards this spring. Doggone stinkers. Oh, sorry, girls. Okay. Okay, now that we have the box, we're going to do it in the right order, just like the bees do it. So honey on the outside, and then bee bread or room for bee bread. Of course, we took a bunch of our frames to the other box. This one's brood, so it goes right in the middle.
Comb just to put in there
Especially if you're going to get rid of some as you go.
Right.
Okay, so I already stacked the other box with 4 honey frames, because remember, we don't have foragers over there. So I can put
So
these
2
here.
on the outside of honey on each side.
Yep. Let's go ahead and give this one to the other colony.
And put it on the outside?
Yes, please. Okay. So we're going to end up with more boxes than frames because we're moving frames into another box. So see, I always start on the outside because the queen's probably in the middle somewhere. And we want to be careful we don't roll that queen when we pull this first one out where everything's tight. But I'm still careful just because. And there's this beautiful honey. I don't see the queen. Do you want to carry that over to Russ?
Beehive.
It is doing great.
They're
Really,
doing really well.
really exciting. And there's more bee bread. We haven't left any bee bread with us. Carry this whole box over to the other
Look
one.
at all those queen cups.
Yeah. Let's look at them good and see if there's anything in them. No, thank heavens there isn't.
Huh.
Okay, so to make this more efficient, I just had a brilliant idea. We're gonna carry this whole box over here.
Oh, okay. Do you want a lid or anything to set it on?
Okay. And so now all we have to do is shake. We got lots of drone brood here. And you know, I haven't seen a million adult drones, which is one thing I saw last time. There was quite a bit of drone brood, but not a lot of adult drones. So we're gonna leave this open, don't forget.
Extra.
Because we're shaking all the nurse bees over here. Nurse bees is who feeds the open brood. So we're putting the feeders and the fed together. This is capped brood, so it's going to stay in this box.
Do you want me to put it in that box?
That would be
Or
great.
original?
Thank you.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
So we're wanting mostly open brood in the new queen colony, or I mean where the old queen's going.
Right.
And
so
capped
this,
where they
there's eggs. I don't know if you can see in there. There's eggs up here and open larvae.
I know the sunshine.
And there's a lot of capped. So this is a perfect one to leave with our parent colony because it has eggs. They can make a new queen out of it. And it also has nurse bees on it. So I'm going to look carefully for the queen on this one. And I'm going to leave these nurse bees on here and let Rusty go put that in the middle of that other colony. In our colony that needs to raise a new queen. And I used to say you didn't really need to worry about that, but you know, sometimes, like last week, one of my colonies had eggs on only one frame. I mean, period. There's a bunch of eggs in this one, so, which I couldn't see before I shook the bees off. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there.
Is this going to be 2 boxes high, 2 hive bodies high?
Well, and it'll probably end up being 3 actually.
Okay.
Because we'll want them to have a little bit of room to work. I'm gonna jump over, because I only have 1 spot left, I'm gonna jump over here and look for one more. So this is exactly what we were looking for, a beautiful bee bread box for this hive. It's not gonna have foragers. And we don't need to bother shaking it because we're leaving it here. Okay. Beautiful. Now, for a lot of people to get this on here without killing all these bees, we could smoke them off, but what we are gonna do is we're gonna put that first corner down and then we're gonna rotate it into position, kind of sweeping the bees as we go.
Kind of scuttling out of the way.
Jump it, yeah.
You're so gentle.
Bouncing it on their backs a little bit. Okay, I didn't hear any crunches. Isn't
Good
that
job.
exciting? Woohoo! Okay, now we're ready to receive the next frame. What's in here though? This is, so it's got a little bit of open brood, but it also has a lot of room to work. So I kind of want to leave it here for the queen to work in. Yeah, because the queen's going to be here and she's going to need room to work. So I'm going to put this right here so that she has a place to lay. Because if we leave the queen with no place to lay, she's going to be hanging in the trees before you know it. Here's another beautiful comb with all drones. So I took one of these home last week and froze it, and out of it, it was a completely full one. There were only 3 drones with mites in them. So we're going to shake this and give this, all these drones, to the other colony to feed, the one with the foragers.
Okay.
This is a beautiful bee bread, and it's got fresh nectar in it, so we're going to give it to this colony because they need that. I'm trying to go fast because this could really take a lot of time, and we're doing 2 of these. But so what we're trying to do here is we're shaking all of the bees out of the parent colony, which is across the yard and facing in a different direction, into the child colony. And in doing that, we're going to end up with the queen over here, who isn't going to want to fly, and the nurse bees, who don't want to fly. And we're going to leave the open brood in this box. And we're leaving the capped brood in that box. So far, we've left a lot of food in this box as we find it, and a little bit of food in that box. Remember, that box has its foragers, so they'll be able to get more food. We don't want to take it all, but we're putting the most of the food over here. And then as we go through the frames, we're choosing what goes where. So we just put a frame of drones over there because we want that colony with all the foragers to feed the drones. We also found a frame that had capped brood, which would normally go there, but it also had eggs and young larvae so that they can make a new queen. And we looked at that frame really well to make sure the queen wasn't there and put it there with our nurse bees on it, so I know I've got bees to feed that young larva. So now I don't have to worry about that colony being able to raise a queen because they have what they need. And then this colony will get the queen and everybody. So does that answer your question, Sheila? The way this works out is that other colony, the parent colony, ends up with the capped brood and the foragers. So the foragers are out foraging. The capped brood starts emerging right away, and they replace our nurse bee population so that we end up with a colony that's pretty well balanced as far as nurses and foragers. This colony here is going to be really heavy on nurses for a while, and that's why you're not going to see really much traffic at all. This one has capped and open brood and eggs, so I'm just going to leave it here. When you're done, you can put this on. Yeah, okay. Ready? Okay, same thing. We're going to put this kind of at an angle and rotate it into place so we don't crush a bunch of bees between the boxes. Line them all up nicely. And I'll let Rusty go ahead and start restocking that. By the time we're done, we will have shaken 4 boxes of bees into here, which is 2 boxes. So it's going to be just overflowing with bees. This is a lovely bee bread that we're going to leave here. I just can't resist having a quick look for the queen. If you happen to see her, it just makes everything easier. Because then you know, oh, we could actually quit now if we wanted to. But like I say, you don't have to see her. We got some nice new nectar on here. Our bees are kind of runny. We got a lot of drones because it's an edge box. So I'm gonna actually put this side that's so full on the outside and put the more empty part on the inside so that the bees get the idea, oh yeah, we kind of need to fill that. Otherwise, sometimes they leave the outside section empty. Okay, what do we have here? Looks like we have room for a couple more. Oh, this was our nectar and bee bread, a beautiful number 2, which we have. And this is 1, 2. We put this right here. So, whenever you're going into a big box of bees like this, go kind of slow. So we've got plenty of food over here. I'm going to leave space in the middle and put a frame right in the middle of all this, which is a little bit riskier because the queen could be here already. And she might be because of the number of fresh eggs we've seen. Now don't forget to shake your box. You'd be amazed at how often the queen is walking around on the walls if you used a smoker. Okay, set this here. Put the next box. That was my flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
I keep a flashlight in my pocket so that if it gets a little cloudy and I can't see, I can shine the light in there and see eggs and stuff way better with a flashlight. Come up slow. That's going back. So our other box over there is pretty empty, so a lot of these frames need to go back that way. We've left this queen a lot of open brood, quite a bit of capped brood. I see I didn't bother shaking all the bees off. I'm just giving it a quick once over. Ah, Rusty brought a frame back for me. Just what I need to finish this box. Look, there's a bee just emerging.
Oh.
It's her first minute in an exciting world. Well, I've got this out here. I'm going to clean these off up here. These, I just hate them because they cut your comb as you come up and they squish bees as quickly as possible so that, of course, it's plenty warm. But still, I hate leaving them out. You know what? Maybe I'm going to clean that bottom one off too. That your bees will still swarm. So your insurance in this whole thing, if you want insurance, is that you have both boxes. You didn't throw away a queen. If this doesn't work out, or if you decided to split this baby twice, which we totally could have split it twice, and there are plenty of bees to do that with, and then one of them doesn't make a queen, or one of them ends up to not be very strong, you just put them back together, and that's your insurance. You always can put them back together. Okay, same thing. We're gonna put one corner down, rotate the other corners into position. No crunchy bees. Now we're gonna put our nice open brood back in there, right in the middle. Bees are a little excited. It's fine. This whole stock right here. Okay.
For them to come up and lay and fill. And...
Right. So this whole top box is going to be pretty empty. Right. So we need some We need our walls that are made of honey and bee bread, so that's what we're going to put in here. So we never saw the queen, but we didn't have to, and it doesn't matter. So this is all nectar, fresh nectar. There's a nice flow going on up here at the college. And I'm going to put this right here in the number 2 position. See, if you put the completed one at the wall and the uncompleted one next to it, the bees see that as a break and want to fix it. Here's a nice bee bread with some pretty fuzzy little nurse bees or baby bees walking around. Put this one here. Okay, so now all we have to do is finish putting this baby back together.
I've got a number over here if you need them too.
Got a bunch of frames over there? Okay. Well, you know what? This is nurse bees, so let's go ahead and give them some room to draw. Young bees draw comb beautifully, and in the spring, they love to do it. You might as well take advantage of that. And so we're going to put this in the number 3 position, and then there's a bunch over there that aren't too great, so let's find some nicer ones. See those balls of bees in there? Your queen can be there pretty easily. Find a nice place that doesn't have bees on it. Give it a little chunk. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this has some old bee bread, and it's not too beautiful. It's also not super dark, so I'm kind of conflicted about whether to use it or not. So I guess it's
bee bread viable for?
They really mostly haul it out. Let's get this one to these guys too, because these young bees can finish drawing this out. I think it's really only good for about a year, and then they have to haul it out. And they don't really like cleaning out old bee bread. It takes them a long time to do it. This one's nice. It's just a little bit dark. You know, it's like maybe a 1-year-old comb from that color.
Yeah.
You can see it's kind of 1 year old. So that's a lovely one. The queen will love that to lay in. And we'd like to find a couple more of those for her to lay in. This one's not too bad. It's got a couple dead bees in it from last year. That's perfectly fine. The bees can handle that. So here's the scary part. Can you guys hear that sound? I don't know if you can. That's the "we don't have a queen" sound. Hopefully it's just because they don't. Hopefully it's just because they don't know where she is. We'll see. So this has a bunch of sugar in it. It's got a bunch of old sugar water solidified in there. I'm going to put it over here on the edge, because it's actually pretty clean comb. I mean, the color, you can see it's not very old. So we're just going to make the bees have to clean that out, that's all. So here's the thing. If you screwed up doing this and you killed the queen in all this jumping around, they have eggs. They can make another one. So it's totally fine. And if you hate your bees, like they're mean, or they make not enough honey or whatever, you can get a queen cell from somewhere else, or use queen from another colony. That's it, we're done with that box. There's a lot of room to work and everything. So we can put the lid on it now, which is over next to you, Chelsea. Sorry.
Oh, good.
I need like 4 more assistants, right? So it's pretty warm. I'm going to go ahead and put this notch at the back.
At the back?
Yeah, I put it in the front in the summer. Oh, look at this. Box is broken. Uh-oh. Well, I guess it's plenty open at the back then. Right? Out, the faster the bees can dehydrate the honey, the faster they can make honey. And the more airflow there is going through there, the nicer it is. I did leave their bottoms in still, because I don't think we really need that much ventilation. I won't take their screen bottoms out for another month. probably. So now we'll go back over here. It's gonna be 2 right now. It's gonna be 2 right now. Bees from this colony, which means they're not gonna draw comb very well.
Oh, okay.
So I've got this bare one I'm putting in here. I'm gonna put it in the number 2 position, so that whenever they do get around to drawing comb, because remember we've got all this capped brood that's going to emerge before the new queen flies, and in that amount of time that capped brood is going to get old enough to draw a comb. Rusty? Nice.
Yes, sure. Go on.
Thanks. She's stuck to the frame. Let go!
I'm stuck.
Okay, so this says honey. I'm putting the honey on the outside and the rim to work on the inside. Now, listen to the bees over here. These bees do not sound queenless.
So you may have your new queen on the other side.
This is what a colony should sound like. Just everybody's doing their little thing. But we're not going to worry about that because we know we did what we were supposed to do. And then we're going to come back in a week and make sure that this colony has a queen cell, a viable queen. If we got it backwards and there's a queen over here and a queen cell over there, it's fine, perfectly fine. You know, as long as we get the queen in one place and the queen cells in the other place. And that's another thing, is if you are too late and there's queen cells already, all the queen cells go in one box and the queen goes in the other. But you never shake a frame that has queen cells on it. Here's an inner cover. Also keep in mind that the colony that has your queen, or that's supposed to have your queen, is the one that the label goes with. And I write on my lids. So wherever my lid is,
Oh, it's here.
it's gonna go over here where the queen is. See, there's my queen's name right there. How old she is, how many mites, 0 mites on 822. Isn't that awesome? So I've got a little pen in my pocket here. It's a wax pen. I'm gonna write on here. The date is 5/12/20, and I'm gonna write, what am I gonna write? Open, no cells. Because we know that we don't have queen cells yet. So this is gonna help me remember that we don't have a queen cell yet on 5/12. Okay, so
This is Sheila. I do have